Born on February 11, 1979 in Macomb, Mississippi, Brandy Norwood came up as that church girl with a voice so smooth it could stop you in your tracks. People said her sound could make angels cry, and she quickly turned into the teenage star of Moesha, becoming a real role model for millions watching at home. Then came the nickname, the Vocal Bible, because her runs were so detailed and sharp that other singers studied them like they were reading scripture. But things didn't stay picture perfect for long. Before getting into how a tragic 2006 freeway crash led to the loss of a life and hit Brandy with a massive $50 million lawsuit that nearly wiped out her career, there's more drama to unpack.
To be back doing what I love to do. This is so exciting.
It's
really.
been 4 years.
Yes.
We know that the last two especially have been tough for you.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
almost 2 years to the day that you were involved in that accident
Yes.
that killed a young mother.
Her own brother, Ray J, went public in April 2025 and said she hates who I am, adding, "I'm not a brother no more, man." Because of what? Putting their family tension on full display. At the same time, she's been balancing a Lifetime Christmas movie alongside her 23-year-old daughter, Sarai, while gearing up to drop a tell-all memoir called Phases in March 2026. Now here's where it really gets messy. There are two major truths that shaped everything behind the scenes. First, Brandy spent years claiming she was married to her daughter's father, building a story that people believed was real. But later, it all came out that the marriage never actually happened, and that secret blew up publicly, shaking her clean image and forcing her to address it on national television. She later admitted the truth. She made up the entire marriage story because she felt pressure and shame about being an unwed mother in the conservative church community she grew up in. Back then, being pregnant outside of marriage wasn't accepted at all, it wasn't praised, and it definitely wasn't seen as normal. As she explained, it was something people talked about in a negative way, and that pressure pushed her to create a story that wasn't real. Then came the second truth, and this one cuts deep.
Yes.
You talked about that, and I remember you saying that you were so devastated that you didn't leave the house for 3 months.
I did. It was a very, very hard time for me, but music pretty much saved the day, and just family and friends just supporting me. And you know, that's why I'm back with this album, to celebrate what it means to be a human being and, you know, having a life with purpose and meaning, you know?
The 2006 car accident that took the life of Awataf Abudihaj on December 30th sent Brandy into a heavy spiral of guilt and depression. It hit her so hard that she later revealed she struggled with thoughts of ending her own life, something she kept hidden for years. She's only recently started opening up about that pain, sharing how she would sit and write in her journal every day, asking God why she was still here while someone else was gone because of her. That kind of weight doesn't just disappear. Going back to the beginning, February 11th, 1979, in Macomb, Mississippi, Brandy Norwood was born into a deeply religious household led by her parents, Willie and Sonia Norwood. She and her younger brother, Ray J, were raised in the Church of Christ, where music was all about raw vocals. No instruments, no background tracks, just pure voices coming together in harmony. Willie Norwood became her first real inspiration. Every Sunday, she watched him lead the church, in song, his voice filling the whole space, and it stuck with her. She even said, "I want to do that," and meant it. By just 4 years old, she already had that dream locked in, and by 11, she was out there performing and had dropped her very first single, already stepping into the spotlight. The Norwood family made a big move to Los Angeles while Brandy was still young, all in on chasing that entertainment dream. Her mom, Sonia, even left her job at H&R Block to manage both Brandy and Ray J full-time, putting everything on the line for their future. It wasn't just a plan, it was a full gamble. Their whole life depended on whether these two kids could really make it in the industry. Then in 1993, at just 14 years old, Brandy got her first real break, landing a role on the ABC sitcom Thea, starring Thea Vidal. That moment changed everything for her. It was her first time acting on TV, her first time getting recognized in public, and the first moment where it all started to feel real. You could see it clicking, like this dream might actually turn into something big. But 1994, that's when things exploded. Atlantic Records dropped her self-titled debut album Brandy, and the lead single, I Wanna Be Down, hit hard right out the gate. The track climbed to number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and introduced everyone to her signature sound, that raspy, layered vocal style that stood out instantly. The album went quadruple platinum, and just like that, Brandy wasn't just another new artist. She was everywhere. Teens looked up to her, parents respected her image, and the industry started calling her a prodigy. Then she kept the momentum going with Baby in 1995, showing off even more vocal control, followed by Broken Hearted, featuring Wanya Morris from Boyz II Men, proving she wasn't slowing down anytime soon.
I know that you really could relate to this mother because you're a mother yourself.
Yes, I am.
She left behind 2 children, a husband, and parents. If you could talk to them, what would you say to them?
I think that's a private matter, and I've written in my journal about it, everything that I would want to say, and just not just to that family, but everybody involved. And I just would rather keep that to myself, if you don't mind.
Oh, of course I don't mind. I completely understand.
Thank you.
And I could see it's tough for you to talk about that.
By 1996, Brandy was already stacking major wins. She added Sitting Up in My Room to the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack, locking in her spot as R&B royalty before she was even old enough to vote. That track only pushed her name higher, showing she wasn't just hot, she was consistent. Then January 1996 hit and everything leveled up again. UPN premiered Moshe, a sitcom built around a teenage girl dealing with school, family, and real-life struggles in South Central Los Angeles. Brandy stepped into the role of Moshe Mitchell, and the show instantly connected with audiences across the country. It wasn't just entertainment, it felt real, and families everywhere were tuning in. Lines like, "Hi, baby brother in the house, let's get this party started," became part of the culture. Moesha ran for 6 seasons, and by that point, Brandy wasn't just a singer anymore. She was a full-on star in 2 lanes, acting and music both at the highest level, no question. The show even brought in major guests like Maya Angelou and Brian McKnight, and Brandy was soaking up game from every single person who stepped on set. One person even said meeting her felt like meeting Oprah, like she was on a whole different level and almost untouchable. But 1996 had another moment nobody saw coming. Kobe Bryant, still a high school student at the time, asked Brandy to be his prom date, and she said yes. They showed up matching, cameras going wild, 2 young stars stepping into the spotlight together. At that moment, nobody could have guessed just how huge both of their futures were about to become. In 1997, Brandy stepped into history in a way nobody could ignore. ABC and Disney cast her as the lead in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, flipping the classic fairy tale into something fresh with a multicultural cast. And just like that, Brandy became the first Black actress to play Cinderella in a major production, making a statement that reached way beyond TV screens. And it didn't stop there. Her fairy godmother was played by Whitney Houston herself, which made the whole moment feel unreal. Brandy had spent years looking up to Whitney, even trying to sneak backstage at her concerts just to get a glimpse of her. Now she was standing right next to her, in the same room, on the same set, singing side by side with the woman who inspired her whole journey. That wasn't just a career move, it felt deeper than that. She later reflected on it, saying it was something huge to be part of, and she wasn't wrong. Cinderella pulled in around 60 million viewers, and for so many young Black girls watching, it changed how they saw themselves. Suddenly, they could see themselves as princesses too, and that impact hit different. Then 1998 came through and raised the stakes again. Brandy dropped her second album, Never Say Never, and it carried the song that would define her legacy, The Boy Is Mine, a duet with fellow R&B singer Monica. The concept was wild. 2 women going back and forth over the same man, each claiming he belongs to them, line for line, no holding back. And people couldn't get enough of it, especially with rumors starting to spread that the tension in the song might not have been just music. People really believed the tension was real, like Brandy and Monica actually didn't like each other off camera. The idea for the track even played into that energy. We should do a song called The Boy Is Mine and put Monica on it. People already putting us against each other. And that move, it worked perfectly. The song took over everything. sitting at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 13 straight weeks. That's not luck, that's dominance. It also brought home a Grammy for Best R&B Performance by a duo or group, selling millions and pushing Brandy into a whole new level of fame she hadn't touched before. Winning that Grammy meant something real to her too.
What have you learned? How did you come out of this?
Like I said before, it's just diving back into my music and just my family and friends being there to support me, and just understanding that moving on, I have to have everything in my life mean something, purpose and inspiration, and I just want to be an inspiration to other people.
You kept it from your little girl, which must have been tough.
Yes, I did.
How did you manage to keep it from her?
She admitted that at that age, validation mattered a lot. You want to feel like you made it, like all the work paid off. And in that moment, standing on that stage, holding that award, it felt like everything clicked into place. By the 1999 Grammy Awards, Brandy was only 19 years old, but already moving like a veteran in the game. Over 40 million records sold worldwide, a hit TV show, and a public image that had people calling her America's sweetheart. She even spoke on having more creative control, saying she knew what she wanted to hear and how she wanted to present herself, staying in tune with what was current and fresh. But behind all that success, the pressure was quietly stacking up, and it wasn't slowing down anytime soon. Brandy later opened up about a painful truth from that time. She was dealing with an eating disorder while trying to keep up that perfect image everyone expected. She struggled with anorexia, quietly battling it while the world only saw the polished version of her. Even earlier in her life, things weren't as smooth as they looked either. She shared that she would hide in teachers' parking lots during junior high just to avoid girls who wanted to fight her out of jealousy. That pressure didn't just appear overnight. It had been building for years. In 1999, she briefly attended Pepperdine University, trying to balance school with everything else going on, but it didn't last long. Her schedule was too packed, and something had to give. From the outside, everything still looked solid, but behind the scenes, small cracks were starting to form, and nobody really saw it yet. Back in 1998, she also stepped into film, appearing in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer alongside Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. Her role as Carla Wilson wasn't originally written for her, but she came in, auditioned, and earned it, continuing to break barriers in spaces where she wasn't initially expected. Then 2001 came with a decision that would follow her for years. She became pregnant with her daughter's father, Robert Smith, and given the environment she was raised in, she felt intense pressure around how that would be perceived. So she told the public that they had secretly married on June 16, 2002. When her daughter, Sirai Iman Smith, was born, Brandy embraced motherhood fully, but that story she told didn't just disappear. It stayed with her. By 2004, questions started coming up. Tabloids began digging, asking if the marriage was ever real, and the situation was getting harder to keep quiet. Robert Smith eventually spoke out and made it clear. They were never legally married. That statement hit hard and changed everything. Brandy's clean, wholesome image took a serious blow. The same person who played Cinderella, who came up in the church, who parents trusted. Now people were questioning everything. To many, it felt like she had misled them, and the backlash came fast and heavy. In 2004, she dropped her fourth album, Aphrodisiac, showing a more grown and mature side of herself. Critics actually respected the project and praised her honesty, but commercially, it didn't hit the same way her earlier albums did. The shift in her image, mixed with the controversy, made longtime supporters look at her differently, and that impact showed in the numbers. Around that same time, she got engaged to NBA player Quentin Richardson in 2004. But that relationship didn't last either, ending in 2005. Things weren't settling down. They were getting more complicated. She was trying to rebuild her image, figure out her identity beyond the persona she had created, and hold on to a career that felt like it was slipping in certain areas. Then came December 30th, 2006, a day that changed everything in an instant. Brandy was driving on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles when her 2007 Land Rover collided with a Toyota driven by 38-year-old Awatef Abudihaj. The crash led to a chain reaction involving multiple vehicles, and Abudihaj sadly lost her life as a result of the incident. In the aftermath, Brandy spoke about how deeply the situation affected her. She shared that the emotional weight was overwhelming, and there was a period where she stayed out of the public eye for months, trying to process everything that had happened. She later spoke on that time, saying it was one of the hardest periods of her life, and you could feel the weight behind those words. The California Highway Patrol spent over a year investigating the crash and recommended that Brandy be charged with a misdemeanor related to vehicular manslaughter. But in December 2008, the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office decided not to move forward, saying there wasn't enough evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. So legally, she was cleared, but that didn't mean she felt free. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, she was carrying something heavy. She even shared that she poured everything into her journal, writing down thoughts she couldn't say out loud, not just for the victim's family, but for everyone affected by what happened. That kind of guilt doesn't just disappear, it stays with you. At the same time, Awataf Abudihaj's family filed a $50 million wrongful death lawsuit, and others involved in the crash brought their own civil cases too. Brandy ended up settling these situations privately, with details kept out of the public eye. But no amount of money could fix what had already happened, and that reality hit hard. She stepped away from the spotlight. No performing, no recording, nothing. At one point, she even questioned whether she should continue her music career at all. Years later, she revealed just how deep that pain went, sharing that she had struggled with thoughts of ending her own life during that period. She described writing to God daily, trying to understand why she was still here while someone else wasn't. That question stayed on her mind constantly. But somehow, she found a way forward. Writing became her outlet, her way of processing everything she was carrying. Her faith in gospel music helped ground her, giving her something to hold on to when everything else felt uncertain. Then in 2008, she released her fifth album, Human, putting her pain, her mistakes, and her truth right into the music.
Well, she doesn't read the news, and she doesn't, newspaper, and she doesn't look at the news. So I just tried to stay strong for her because I didn't want her to see me as down as I really was,
Well, it's good to see you back up and out doing music again. Your new CD is called...
Fans could hear the vulnerability, and for many, it felt like watching someone fight their way back instead of giving up. Then in 2010, Brandy stepped back into the spotlight in a whole new way. She joined the cast of BET's The Game, playing Chardonnay Pitts, a loud, funny, no-filter character that was completely different from anything people had seen from her before. It was a bold shift, and she leaned all the way into it. Lines like, "Oh my God, girl, you are real cute in person. I mean, you do look better in your video," showed just how fearless and entertaining her character was, and the audience loved it. The season 4 premiere pulled in 7.7 million viewers, making it BET's highest-rated sitcom premiere ever at the time. That role gave Brandy space to break out of her old image and show a different side of her personality. She even said she admired Chardonnay's confidence, describing her as someone who speaks her mind and stands on what she believes, no hesitation. The show ran until 2015, and Brandy stayed a key part of that run, reminding people she could still hold attention on screen just as strong as before. Around this time, she was also getting back into music, returning to her R&B roots with a sound that felt more real and grown. In her personal life, she got engaged to music executive Ryan Press in December 2012, but by February 2014, the engagement ended. She later shared that she was at peace being on her own, focused on her daughter and her own growth, saying she genuinely enjoyed where she was in life. Between 2013 and 2016, she kept working, taking on different roles and appearances across TV and film, showing consistency even while moving through personal changes and figuring out her next chapter. Brandy kept rebuilding, step by step, not rushing the process. She even took her talent to Broadway, performing as Roxy Hart in Chicago, proving she could command a live stage just as strong as TV and music. At the same time, she continued touring, staying active and focused, making it clear she wasn't going to let past tragedy define her whole story. Then in 2020, she appeared on The Fox Drama Star, created by Lee Daniels, playing a version of herself in a recurring role. That part hit different because the show dove into the darker side of the music industry, and Brandy's real-life experiences added a level of authenticity you couldn't fake. Lines about fighting to get into the industry and finally being ready to make real moves felt personal, like she was speaking from lived experience. But just as things seemed steady, 2022 brought more legal issues into the spotlight. A former housekeeper filed a lawsuit claiming age discrimination and wrongful termination, saying she was let go because she was over 60. That case was later settled for $40,000. Around that same time, a fashion designer also took legal action, claiming a $45,000 diamond ring borrowed for the American Music Awards was never returned. Situations like this kept her name tied to controversy, even while she was trying to move forward. Then April 2025 came with unexpected family drama that played out in public. Her brother Ray J went on Instagram and said Brandy hates who I am, while also sharing emotional statements about how he felt in their relationship. In another moment, he admitted, "I love my sister, but I'm an embarrassment," and that hit people hard. The situation spread fast online. Fans started picking sides, questioning what was really going on behind the scenes in the Norwood family. It brought up conversations about possible tension, feelings of being overlooked, and deeper issues that hadn't been visible before. Through all of it, Brandy stayed silent publicly, keeping her composure and choosing not to respond in the middle of the storm. Then in September 2024, Brandy stepped into a completely different lane again, starring in the psychological horror film The Front Room, which hit theaters before landing on Max and HBO in January 2025. It showed she was still willing to take risks and step into roles people didn't expect from her, keeping her career unpredictable in a good way. But October 2025 brought another moment that had people talking. During a concert in Chicago, Brandy suddenly walked off stage after dealing with sound issues. She went backstage to handle it, but never came back out to finish the last 20 minutes of the show.
Inspirations as well.
Yes, acting and stuff like that.
Well, and Brandy revealed to me as we were coming in that her dream is to be here and do like a
on
talk show
yeah,
one day?
Absolutely.
Huh.
Absolutely.
Fans who paid to be there were upset, and social media lit up fast with criticism. People calling the situation unprofessional, disrespectful, and questioning what really happened. Her team later explained it was due to dehydration mixed with technical problems, but by then, the narrative had already taken off. Once again, her name was tied to controversy, and people started asking if she still had the consistency needed to perform at that level. Moments like that don't just disappear, they stick in people's minds. Still, she didn't stop moving. By late 2025, Brandy was working on Christmas Every Day, a Lifetime holiday film where she plays fashion designer Francine Fancy Ballantyne. And this time, it came with a deeper layer. Her daughter Sirai, now 23, joined the project, stepping into acting right beside her. That moment felt bigger than just a movie. Watching Brandy share the screen with her daughter, the same child she once tried to protect through that hidden truth, the same one who saw her through her lowest points, hit on a different level. It felt like things coming full circle, like growth happening in real time. And in March 2026, she's set to release her memoir, Phases, through a major publisher. The book, originally planned for October 2025 but pushed back, promises to lay everything out. The struggles with eating disorders, the pressure, the false marriage story, the tragic accident, the emotional battles, and the long road to rebuilding her life and career. This time, it's all coming straight from her. No filter. This is the story she's been writing in her journals for years, going all the way back to when she was a young girl in a Mississippi church, watching her father lead songs and feeling something bigger calling her. Those quiet conversations she had with God back then, they never stopped. They just got deeper with time. And now, she's finally ready to put it all out there for the world to see. As of 2025, Brandy Norwood's net worth is estimated somewhere between $12 million and $60 million, depending on who's reporting it. That wide gap says a lot. It reflects not just her massive success, but also the financial hits from lawsuits, settlements, and career pauses that slowed things down at different points. But money doesn't really tell her full story. What she's built goes beyond numbers. It's resilience, it's growth, it's surviving moments that could have completely ended everything. Her music alone shows that evolution clearly. I Wanna Be Down in 1994 introduced a young star finding her voice. Sitting Up in My Room in 1996 showed her leveling up, and The Boy Is Mine in 1998 turned her into a global name overnight. Then tracks like Almost Doesn't Count in 1999 pulled back the curtain and showed vulnerability, while What About Us in 2002 tapped into frustration and heartbreak. And when she dropped Put It Down with Chris Brown in 2012, it felt like a comeback moment. Like she was reminding everyone she wasn't going anywhere. Now at 45, Brandy isn't trying to be that perfect image people once expected from her. And that's the point. She's something more real. A woman who made mistakes, faced public setbacks, dealt with deep personal struggles, and still found a way to rebuild herself piece by piece. They call her the vocal Bible, and it's not just about her technique anymore. It's about her journey, one filled with highs, lows, lessons, and growth. From that church girl singing a cappella beside her father to everything she's lived through since, her story carries a weight you can't ignore. She became Cinderella and stood next to Whitney Houston, living out a dream most people can't even imagine. She was involved in a tragic car accident that took a life and carried a level of guilt that shook her to the core. She created a marriage story because the truth felt too heavy to face at the time. Her own brother went public saying she hates him, putting family pain on display for everyone to see. She walked off a stage in Chicago, leaving fans confused and upset, and still showed up the next day to film a Christmas movie with her daughter. That's not just drama. That's survival on a whole different level. And now, as Brandy gets ready to release phases and open up every chapter of her life, she's making one thing clear. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to keep going, keep pushing, keep showing up, even when people are watching closely and expecting you to fall again. Because nothing pulls people in more than a real comeback story. And Brandy Norwood has been writing hers for over 20 years, one phase at a time, refusing to let her lowest moments define how her story ends. If you made it this far, make sure you like, subscribe, share this video, and drop a comment below. What do you really think about Brandy's journey?